Hey guys, super excited to show you around Pravix, a tool that I built to monitor and detect data sanity issues in Mixpanel. Um, but before I actually dive into the tool, here's a quick backstory on why I actually built this. Uh, I've worked with over 90 startups as a Mixpanel consultant, helping them set up analytics, fix tracking issues, get insights out of their product, help them understand user behavior, and I'll help them with data automations and a lot more stuff, right? Um, and if there's one problem that every single one of them had have faced, it's data sanity, right? Events have suddenly stopped firing. Some properties have just disappeared. Metrics have spiked for no reason. Null percentages have increased, and a lot of these problems. And the worst part has always been that we actually never came to know when it actually happened, but we only realized it much later when a dashboard probably broke, or I was halfway through some sort of analysis. And that's exactly why I built Pravix, so that we are able to or any team or any founder or any analytics person is able to get hold of the issues the moment they happen and not much later. So let's cut the chase and see what it does, right? So the first thing that I want to take you guys through is what use cases does Pravix actually help you monitor and protect, right? So we'll go to use cases. There are 9 use cases that we have here, and I'll go through each one of them very briefly. But this is just to give you guys an idea of what are the different use cases that we are monitoring through your data and flagging and alerting on. The first one is event count has spiked up and down. So for example, you say that if an event count spikes up or down by 60% from the general sort of number, flag an alert, right? So Pravix will do that. If an event has stopped flowing completely, so randomly one day an event just stops flowing because you've made some tech changes, Pravix will catch that and flag it. Let's say an event property has stopped flowing, we again catch that and we flag it, right? So because you could have like multiple events, and somewhere one property that was really important has just stopped flowing, and there's no way to catch that. Pravix will do that for you. The null percentage has increased. So for example, if you have let's take a quick example. So you have a purchase event which has a property called plan type, and what has suddenly happened is, maybe due to some changes, the plan type property does not actually have values now, but it's all coming as null or not sets. So Pravix catches that and alerts you on that. Event property distribution has shifted. This is usually helpful for RCA teams, but the idea here is that, again, if you take the plan type property, so maybe right now the distribution might be that 70% of the users purchase the pro plan and 30% users purchase the say premium plan, for example. And then suddenly one day something's changed, and maybe someone just renamed pro to premium and premium to pro, and then from the next day you actually see 70% traffic shifting to premium and only 30% on pro. And that's a huge shift. Like that's an issue. So Pravix catches that and flags it for you. And then we have similarly user property detectors. So very similar to the event property detectors, but let's say user property has stopped flowing, null percentage has increased, distribution has shifted, or user profiles have spiked up or down. All of that is caught and reported, right? Great. So now let's actually get into the product. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in into that. Great, so let's sign in. Okay, perfect. So once you sign in, the first thing that we need to do is actually connect our Mixpanel account. So we're gonna go here. It's already connected, but I'll just quickly show you across this. So you need to enter a project name, whatever you want to use. This is what you want to use. You need to get a project ID, service account username, service account secret, and where is your data stored. Now, where do you get all of these settings? All of these settings come from the project settings in Mixpanel. So when you go to Mixpanel, go to settings, go to project settings. There you're gonna see your project ID. You're gonna see your data region, and you'll also see an option to generate a service account. And so I've also detailed it out here, where you're gonna go here. Within project settings, you'll click on service accounts, add a service account, choose a username, choose admin as a project role, and set expiry as never. Copy back, generate it, copy back the username and secret key, and just paste it here. And as soon as you do that, when you click on update and verify, it's actually going to go ahead and verify your connection. What we do is we basically try to fetch, one data point from Mixpanel just to make sure that we've successfully connected. Okay, great. The next thing that needs to be done is you need to create a setup. So this is where you need to choose what detectors or what checks you need to run, how at what frequency you need to run, and so on and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to do here is choose a name. So let's say I'll just give it testing 01. I'm going to select check. So this is where you see all of the 9 detectors that we just spoke about in the initial minutes of this call. And so you can check, okay, I want to run all of these, I might want to run only a few of these. And along with each detector, I have you have 2 settings. So the first thing is you can actually change what is your look back window. So you might want to look back 14 days or 30 days or 7 days, and you can choose that for each selector, for each detector. And by default, the check back window is 7 days. And for some of these detectors, we also have thresholds. So for example, if event count has spiked, what is a threshold from the baseline? So if the baseline is say 100 and your threshold is 30%, so it'll actually calculate 30% on top of 100 and 30% below 100, and that will be your wave. So anything that goes above that wave will actually be detected as an alert or an issue, right? So you can keep changing it from here, whatever you want. And then we move to the last step of creating a setup, where you choose if you only want to run these setups manually, or you want them to run on a weekly basis at 9 a.m. UTC, and via cron job this will automatically run. The last important thing that I've included here is whether you want to include weekends or not. So for a lot of B2B SaaS products, weekends are actually supposed to be excluded because users are actually not using them on weekends. And if you still include weekends in the data, it's basically just going to create chaos, right? Because it's just going to give you false alarms and false alerts. And so you can choose if you want to include weekends, you don't want to include weekends. Do that, click on create setup, and it's going to create something like this. And then let's get to the most interesting part of it. But before I show you what happens when you click on run, there's another part of Pravix that I want to take you guys through, which is super important before you run anything, is actually go to the data settings part, which actually will so as soon as you connect your Mixpanel, what we do is we actually fetch your event schema from Mixpanel, and we display it here, right? So we display all of the events, and if you expand on any event, you'll also see the properties. We get all of your user properties. And the reason this is here is because a lot of times you might have a list of events that you actually don't want to analyze or run any detector, right? And these could be events that you don't really care about. They're not that important. You don't care if they go, if it spikes, if they stop flowing, and you don't want to waste time and resources on that. You could just enable those from here. So if I enable this MP click, what it's going to do is it's actually not going to analyze any detector for this event, right? And you can also exclude properties. So for example, you might be like, okay, within MP click, I actually don't want to analyze these 3 properties. So you'll choose them, you'll save changes, and this will apply to all of your setups and detector runs. Cool, so now let's get to the most interesting part. So when you click on a run, it's going to show up here, and it's going to complete in some time, and you'll see an alert. If any of the detectors have raised an alert, you're going to see that here. You'll also probably get an email. But here, if I go to view report, this is what I see. So right now, this is just testing data, so everything has an alert, but that's usually not how it would be. And so now, for each of the detectors, you can click on view details individually and see what are the issues, right? So for example, event count spike detector, I want to know what are the issues. So when I click on view results, this is what I see, right? Where I see, and I should tell you how you are supposed to read this. So for example, what this is telling me, the first row, is that Okay, 10th October, MP click had 24 fires, right? Or clicks or whatever. But the baseline median was just 6. And because our deviation percentage that we chose was, I think, 35%, it is a huge deviation, and that's the reason it's here in this table, right? Because deviation percentage is 600 from 6. Similarly, it has a lot of these events where, let's say let's talk clicked on 11th October actually fired for 16 number of times, but the median was actually 0, so it wasn't supposed to fire, right? Or let's say page view event, the median was 13, but on these days on 6th October there was a huge uplift or spike, and so it's been flagged here. And obviously right here in this table you only see the flagged rows or flagged issues. If you want to see the entire report, you can actually click on download full report, and it'll download that report for you. So I hope this was helpful. In case you guys have any doubts, any questions, feel free to reach out to me, comment below, or email me on ansha@joinpravix.com. I hope to hear from you guys. Thank you so much.